Hello there. And welcome to RNG for April of 2023, where I'm taking over this channel because the only way this garbage YouTuber lowest expectations will ever make one of these on time is when I do it for him. Ha 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 wow. So because lowest expectations is so goddamn lazy, he only does one gaming news show per month, and by the time he does it, all of the news is outdated, making him perpetually late and gay. Very gay. So gay that he makes the Fire Emblem Twitter fandom look super straight by comparison. Wow. So let's get this garbage news show over with because I have better things to do, like getting my robo balls fondled by some hot AI futanari cat girls. For some reason, people were talking about the term JRPG again, and whether or not it's a good genre definition, and stuff like that. To be honest, the whole conversation is a waste of time and only for people who think they are smarter than they really are. A JRPG is a JRPG. They are different from Western RPGs. I know this. You know this. This silly willy lowest expectations knows this. Everyone knows this. That's why we have the term JRPG in the first place, and anyone who even entertains this conversation is a pretentious little Jimmy who needs to touch grass. Ha 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 ha. For all you fanboys who get excited at glorified video game commercials, E3 was in the news a lot last month, and finally gets what it deserves. Last month, the only company that announced they will be attending E3 was Ubisoft. And nobody gives a shit about Ubisoft because they can't put out a decent game that isn't a copy-paste open-world action with stealth elements game. Even they probably know this, so they announced that they backed out of E3 last month probably because they have nothing to show and Skull and Bones is never coming out, and Beyond Good and Evil 2 is vaporware. Ha 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 ha. Then towards the end of the month, E3 was cancelled entirely, and I say good riddance because it was shit. Just a circle jerk for industry insiders, shitty journalists, clout chasers, and corporate fat cats that are out of touch with what gamers actually like, which is why this event just gets roasted every year. Nobody should miss it. Starfield got delayed again. Lol. Xbox. More like L-box. I bet once this game comes out, it will still be full of bugs and run at 12 FPS. It will be the laughingstock of the internet for a few months. Then it will get modded until it's actually playable, like all Bethesda RPGs have been. Ha 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 ha. Or maybe this time people will do the right thing and not waste so much time fixing Bethesda's mistakes and just let it fade into obscurity. But I doubt that because gamers will buy anything. Square Enix has been taking some serious L's lately too, including the dumpster fire surrounding the game Forspoken, and their obsession with NFTs, and selling off Eidos and other companies for whatever reason. Their recent JRPGs have been decent at least, but they were not meeting their goals to the point where they decided to replace their president. Good. He was driving the company into the dirt and making gamers pretty butthurt, but it looks like the new boss is basically the same person. So don't get your hopes up for any change at Square Enix. They're a garbage company now compared to what they used to be. Wow. PlayStation is still censoring games because they are oversensitive pony-chode gobblers, and this recent example is so ridiculous that even the game's publisher went out of their way to tell the world about it directly on their Twitter, which you can see here. Apparently seeing a tiny amount of an anime girl's back is too inappropriate for the PlayStation audience. Ha 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 wow. How does it feel to be a PlayStation player in 2023, where you get overpriced $70 games like Forspoken and 12,000 remakes of The Last of Us, the most overrated game of all time? Then they go out of their way to comb through every anime-style game that comes to their platform to cover up any little thing that might be too much for your sensitive virgin eyes. And speaking of censorship, back in January, there was a lot of low-IQ Twitter drama surrounding the shitty localization of Fire Emblem Engage. Last month, Someone released a mod to fix a lot of the game's intentionally mistranslated dialogue, making it more true to the Japanese version. Game Banana, one of the most popular sites for modded console games, made them censor the mod to keep it on their site. Lovers Lab, another mods site, then followed suit, and made them remove it as well. So it's not just PlayStation and Nintendo of America being shitty. Now you can't even share mods on these sites if the people running the sites don't like your mod that just changes some text. Wow. We truly live in a society. And then there was the censorship drama surrounding Atelier Ryza 3, which just spawned another low IQ drama fest, which can be almost entirely blamed on gaming journalists, who misrepresented quotes from the series producer saying that they are shifting away from fanservice. I heard from that pot bonker lowest expectations that he played enough of this series to know that they are not shifting away from fanservice at all, because they clearly made Ryza at least 69% more dummy thick than the first game, just because that's what got horny nerds' attention in the first place. The only actual censorship in this game is in the DLC costumes like this one with this zero effort shitty black void under her dress, which is fucking dumb when this swimsuit costume is in the game as well. Wow. Moving on, we have the Diablo 4 beta starting, which looked like it was the shitty launch of Diablo 3 all over again, requiring you to wait in line to log in just to play a mediocre game, even in single player. Anyone who was excited for this game is a dumb consumer. The fact that it was an Activision Blizzard game in 2023 should have been all you needed to know to not buy into this game, but there was still enough people trying it to overload the servers of this multi-billion-dollar company. Ha 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 ha, wow. Get wrecked, you Blizzard apologists, and enjoy your mediocre game. There was also the Activision Blizzard buyout continuing to move forward in the most entertaining shit show that we could have asked for. Sony is trying really hard to convince daddy government to block Microsoft's Activision Blizzard buyout, but it backfired on them in the most hilarious way, causing the government to investigate them instead, calling them out for their own anti-competitive practices that are basically the same as what they are accusing Microsoft of. Enjoy a taste of your own medicine. For all you maidenless neckbeard weeboos who haven't done your taxes yet, there is a new visual novel that has a pink-haired waifu that will help you file your tax return and get some spicy romance scenes as a reward. Ha 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 ha, wow. Looked like a good way to get your personal information stolen, as it got banned from Steam, but you deserve it if you fall for something like this anyway. The Nintendo 3DS and Wii U eShop closed last month. Good riddance. But apparently I and lowest expectations are in the minority, because a lot of Nintendo fanboys went and desperately bought as many games as they could before the closure, which sounds like an obviously terrible use of your money, buying digital console games on a dying platform. If you bought a bunch of garbage on these stores and your system bricks with no way to get your games back, I won't feel sorry for you. Ha 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 ha. Although this isn't strictly gaming news, there was a story about $30 million worth of Funko Pop figurines going straight to the dump. Ha 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 ha, wow. These stupid little cheap plastic things with their beady little eyes are the worst figures ever made. It was good to see them finally go where they belong. The fucking garbage. Ha 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 ha.
Know your fucking place, trash!
So far the highest rated games of 2023 are Metroid Prime and Resident Evil 4. What the fuck year is this again? 2003 or some shit? Well, it's no surprise because most of the big AAA companies have been releasing garbage for the past 10 years. So that's why lowest expectations here made part of this RNG series to cover releases of interesting games coming out within the next month, so you have something to look forward to for a change. Starting with a game called Metal Dogs. Actually, this game was out in early access for a while and suddenly came out of it on March 23rd. This silly game is a top-down action RPG about funny doggos with weapons. Why waste your time with the ugly-ass Diablo 4 when you have a better action RPG with cute doggos with guns instead? For anyone of the furry persuasion, we have Metroidvania game called Curse of the Sea Rats. Very nicely animated and apparently very story-driven based on the tag. Maybe this will finally be the game that converts lowest expectations into a furry. Ha 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 ha. Just kidding, it's probably just going to be a fun game. Next we have Hunt the Night, another action RPG you should probably play instead of Diablo 4. This game was inspired by Gothic themes, so it has a very dark and intimidating style to it. I don't want to hear people calling it the Dark Souls of pixel RPGs, but we all know it will probably happen because it looks pretty hard. So you better get good. And here we go with another game with the Souls-like tag, Strayed Lights. It's hard to tell if it's actually a Souls-like based on the trailer, but whatever. That will just drive away the filthy casuals, which is a good thing. Ha 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 ha. But it looks like it could be fun, and its artsy-fartsy style is perfect for a cringy hippie like lowest expectations. I think Metroidvania is an actual sexual fetish for lowest expectations because he keeps wanting to show these off in his RNG videos. Afterimage is a Chinese Metroidvania with a very detailed anime art style, as you can see here. All you other Metroidvania makers better step up your game or else the CCP is going to eat your lunch. This is the part where lowest expectations would say just saying, but I am not nearly as cringe. Ha 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 ha. Magical Drop 6 is up next. Apparently there are 6 of these games, but we had not heard of it until now, so here it is. It's a puzzle game in a similar vein to Puzzle League or Puyo Puyo, with a bunch of weird cartoony characters like the almost naked Triclops girl. Perfect for you pervy weeboos. Of course lowest expectations is making me report on the next release, Mugen Souls, a parody JRPG getting a re-release on the Nintendo Switch. Unlike the shitty hack job Nisa did on the original game on PS3, this game is going to have all previously cut content restored and translated properly. So if you were disappointed with the original and want to experience the silly fan service moments they cut out, here you go. You fucking weeb. Ha 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 ha. Protodroid DeLTA is the next game, and it looks like a fun 3D platformer with an emphasis on shooting mechanics. Looks like a good kids game, but also looks like what a 3D Mega Man game would play like if made correctly. Are you listening, Capcom? You fucking boomers who do nothing but sit on this franchise for years on end? Now you have some hippie environmentalist solar punk game doing what you have refused to do for decades. Oh well. They are too busy milking the wallets of Resident Evil consumers to give a damn about the series. Lastly, we have another action RPG that you should play instead of Diablo 4 called Crystarise. Another top-down style game, but this one has building and customization mechanics. I know lowest expectations will be squealing like a 6-year-old fangirl about it due to how cute everything looks and how it has building mechanics for him to cope with not having Dragon Quest Builders 3. Ha 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 ha. That wraps up this RNG video for April 1st, 2023. Obviously the best video because my commentary is 69 million times better than what you usually get with this channel. But you should like and subscribe anyway because you probably have nothing better to do if you're watching this, you nerds. But I have to admit, the top 40 soundtracks video that lowest expectations made is pretty good. You would never see me wasting that much time on something like that, but you should go watch that anyway because all of his choices were correct. Now excuse me while I go get my giant digital donga fondled by AI-generated waifus that are better than your waifus because all of your waifus are trash. Ha 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 ha.